Hi guys, it is Belle here and I'm coming on with day 18 of this year's Diffemember, hosted by Louise Hainsel and Barbara over at 49's Dragonflies. As always, links to their channels will be down below. And also don't forget that this year I have done the Diffemember swap with the wonderful Tiff over at Amethyst Raven, so please do check out her channel as well. It is always linked down below and you can see what she is making and how she's using the bits that I sent her in our swap. Now today's one is another throwback Thursday to 2023. I did not complete all of Diffemember in 2023, so I don't think I got to this one. I might have done, but I don't know. And the prompt is forgotten snacks. Now, as this year's Diffemember is called Snacks and Stash, immediate thoughts go to using packaging or thinking about snacks and how to use that in something. But the way I've interpreted it, as I missed out on the tag portion of the last prompt, I decided I wanted to make a tag. And so what I did was I went through my channel and had a look for some projects that I've done a while ago and haven't redone, but that I really enjoyed making, because a snack is something you enjoy. So I wanted to have a look for a project like that, and I came across this one. Now I really like working with sewing pattern paper, vintage sewing pattern paper. And this might have been about 3 years ago. I took part in the Spring Around Hop or something like that. I'll leave the video link down below. And I made this large tag for that, I believe. And you can see it's sewing pattern paper. It's not my colourway at all because I'm more of a grungy girl. But it was spring, so I wanted to pull that in. We've got buttons and fabric and a little tag and all sorts. And tea-dyed paper on the back to write on. And then it might have been last year I was taking part in the Oak House Journal tag swap. I will leave her channel linked down below as well. And one of the tags I actually made was a version of the sewing pattern one, but in a smaller size and with my favourite colour of sewing pattern, which is the kind of tan beige type sewing pattern. That's the one I enjoy using most because it works best with my grungy style that I like. And you can see this is very grungy. It's got tea-dyed paper on the back, but we've still got that fabric cluster, vintage buttons and a vintage style. So this is my forgotten snack, a project that I've enjoyed making in the past but haven't made for a little while. So I'm going to try and make 3 today. I might only make 1 or 2 on camera and then finish the other one off. I've got some craft card. I was actually going to use some packaging. Sorry, I'm trying to grab it. Some packaging that I had, because this would work really well. These are quite, well, I say they're flimsy. They're not really, because the tea-dyed paper I've used on the back is more like card, and sewing with the buttons gives it some stability. But this one, again, is quite soft. So I thought, let's back it with a little bit of craft card. Now, the size I'm going for is I'm going to make them a little bit, tiny bit smaller than, bigger than this, but same width. So this is 4 inches across, and then I've done 6.5 inches up rather than the 6 inches for this one. And then I've got a random piece of craft card that was left over. So this is 3 3/4 inches and 6.5 inches up. And I've pulled out my favourite type. I've got 2 actually. Look at these. Love these. The white one's nice to work with, but I prefer the darker ones. This is some sewing pattern paper. Now, if you don't have sewing pattern paper, there is other ways you could do this. You could use tea bags over just tea dyed or coffee dyed paper. You could use just coffee dyed paper. You could use the backs of napkins. There are other ways. I love working with sewing pattern paper, so that is what I am going to work with. And I particularly like trying to cut pieces that have more design on it. So this one only has this bit of design. So I think we're going to end up using this one more because it's just got so many things on. It's a bit like using stamps, but you don't have to use stamps. Now this is folded over. We've got how many layers? I think we've got 4 layers. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, because it's already folded over. I've got a nice straight-ish edge. I'm going to try and straighten that up a little bit more. I mean, a lot of this will get covered, but I still like it on there because it gives that extra detail. And we are going to cut this. I need to cut it. We've got 4, 8. If I cut it by about 12 to begin with. So I'm going to cut it by about 12 inches. Basically, you're going to cut it to try and fit it. Oh, I'm going to just fold the bottom of this up. You're going to try and cut it to fit it in, to fit it on your tag. I am just going to fold this up a minute because then it will fit in my paper trimmer. Oh my gosh, this is a bit fiddly to do, guys, but you know, I think it's worth it for the overall look. So 12 inches around about there. Obviously it's not exactly 12 inches, but the thing with this is when you're working with this, the paper can kind of move a little bit, so you want to give yourself a little bit of movement, a little bit either side of paper. And they're about 6 and, did I say 6 1/4? Let me just check in case it's 6 1/2. 6 1/2. Good job, I checked. Well done me. And I'm going to cut it this side because this is the smaller side. So we have 6. Oh my gosh. Okay. 6 1/2. Roughly. That's there. So I'm going to cut it for that. Try and make sure it's flat and straight and all that kind of stuff. I'm actually going to go to just over 7 because again it just gives me a little bit of width to work with in case I need it. So we have that, and now we're going to roughly look at all these, look at all the numbers and things. I want to see what side I want to work on. I think I really like this side for one of them. Yeah, really like that side. So I'm just going to kind of put this on here. Now I should be able to use my small trimmer. I'm hoping I can use my small trimmer. Might not be able to. Okay, we're just going to use some scissors. Now you may be thinking, well Belle, why don't you just stick it down now? Can't do that yet because, well, no, can't do that yet because if you are going to stitch, which I am going to do, I like to actually hand stitch the buttons and machine stitch the fabric. Really hope that works. So because I like to do that, I don't want that. See on here, you can't see any of the stitching. You can't actually feel the stitching, although the buttons already make it a bit difficult to actually I'm going to just turn this over and do it this way because I want to be able to cut it in a way that I know doesn't affect this, because that side's not straight. And I hope this last bit should fit this. I mean, yeah, yes it does. Okay, well that's good. Everything's fitting, and whatever doesn't, it's fine. Yep, that fits on there. Okay, so The next thing you want to do is really just cut this to size a bit better. So I'm going to trim it. I'm going to trim it across the top too, because we're going to start putting bits on here. And then what you can do, if you don't like your paper moving around too much, because it does move around quite a bit, is just come on with a little bit of glue and kind of glue it in place. Because, you know, it just keeps it in place while you're doing all the other bits of decorating. Because it could get quite annoying otherwise. But yeah, I love vintage sewing pattern paper. If you're someone who doesn't have a lot of stamp sets, or particular types of stamp sets, sewing pattern paper is great for giving you that kind of numbers, lines, just fun looking texture without needing loads of stamp sets. So I'm going to glue. See how that's moved over? That's fine. I'm going to glue the other two together. All right, so they're all glued now, and now it's just about looking. I want that one on there. Now's about looking to see where you want designs. Yeah, I like the number. We're not going to see the number 16 there. That'll do. I'm probably going to cover up the arrow as well. If you don't have access to the brown sewing pattern paper, because you may not have, then you could dye them with some ink if you only have the white one. Now I want to bring in a load of different bits so that we can start doing some. I love the patchwork. Now you can also make patchwork with paper, so I think that's one of the things I'm going to do. I've got a load of bits from Tiff here, and I've got my pieces over there. So I'm going to do one with fabric, exactly like I've done on the others that you saw, because that's my jam. So yeah, I'm going to do that, and we're going to move it in a little bit because I want to make sure that I know that's slightly bigger than the craft card underneath. Do you see that? Just to give me edges I can cut straight. So I want to bring it in a little bit so I can do something like that. I'm going to probably do 2 nature type ones, and then I'm going to do one maybe more gothic looking one. Maybe we will save that. I might bring this into, brilliant for using up scraps, especially fabric scraps. It's just so good for that. Trying to see what I like. And we're going to bring in some of this lace. Not that bit, that's a very tiny bit of that lace. So I'm going to bring in some of that. Again, I ripped super tiny bit of that lace. See, that's already to me, that is looking delicious. Just wondering, what did I see that I wanted? Maybe some of that hand-dyed cheesecloth that I used the other day. Yep. You can add all sorts to this. Like I said, we're going to do one with paper as well. Well, when I say with paper, what I mean is it is also going to have some fabric on there, but that I'm not going to do the whole collage out of paper fabric. Now I'm going to start gluing these down a little bit because I kind of want them glued in place before I go stitch them. Now, if you're not going to stitch, make sure that you really glue these down well. But as I said, I am going to stitch. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'll show you, I don't know if you can see on here or not, the bigger one might be better. So if you can see, I've done it almost like patchwork style, where each individual piece has some stitching. And then, where did that go? And then I'm going to come on, is that it? And then stitch these on. So I'm going to do that in a minute. I'm going to move that to one side because I want to just work on the other ones. Now, this one I am going to use, and again, I'm putting this so I can see how big the tag is, so I know roughly where to put these. I'm going to bring in some scraps from Tiff because she's given me the most beautiful scraps. Oh, this feels very gothic, this one. Okay, well, it's fine. So I'm going to bring in some scraps. Might do this slightly like this. And again, it's just about layering wherever you think it might look good. So you don't have to have fabric to do this. Again, I will be adding some fabric. Look at this beautiful piece that Tiff hand dyed or inked. I love this bit here. And I'm using the debossed side. The embossed side is beautiful with these flowers, but I'm turning it over and I want to use the debossed side. Like so. And I'm wondering about just literally, this is just a piece of card that Tiff gave me, this beautiful red card, and I've die cut from it. I'm just wondering about bringing that in as well. Kind of there. Okay, I like that. And I am going to add fabric. But the first thing I'm going to do, as I said, I'm going to stick things roughly in place. I haven't even inked any of these corners, which is crazy for me. But, yeah. So you can get exactly, well, not exactly, but you can get a similar effect with paper. You don't have to have fabric, but I will be adding just a smidge, just some little bits, like something like this. And obviously some lace, because I like it far too much to not do that. Fabric's my jam. I'm just trying to do a little bit different. Oh, perfect. Right, let's do the last one. Let's move these. This is going to be fabric again. I'm just looking, actually. Do I want to do paper again? I've got so many beautiful pieces of paper that Tiff sent me. Now I'm going to lift this up just like I did the others so I can roughly see where things are. And this time we're going to do it on the other side. A little bit of fabric. I'm having to remember that this one is a lot smaller than the other one. So, you know, I'm having to bear that in mind because we haven't got the full 4 inches. Almost, but it's amazing what a 1/4 of an inch, what a difference that makes on a piece. So let's do it this way with this as well. Yeah, we just need a smaller one on there, but I am also gonna bring in some lace because how can I not? See, I like that, but I do think look, we have this little grey scrap. This is the problem. This is why I keep so many scraps, because just adding that literally adds so much. I like it over here though. So I'm now going to go and sew around these. Oh, I forgot to glue these down, but I'm going to go and sew around these. And then when I come back, that's when we're going to get on with the decorating part. So they are all now stitched, as you can see, like that. And I realize this one's going to have to be turned around. This one's going to have to go at the top, because if this is my Gothic one, there's something I want to add to that. that won't work with all that at the bottom. So yeah, I'm going to move these two. Got loads of little bits from Tiff and some bits for me. I'm just going to move the fabric to the side now. We may pull more of that in. Well, we probably will pull more of that in, but not right now. Okay, and now we're going to think about buttons. And I also need to think about where other bits are going. So I have my buttons. I've got another one of these beautiful metal ones, which I love. I've got this. Now, this is a vintage fabric one, but you know what? I like this gold bit, the inside bit. So don't be, you don't have to definitely put buttons the way round that they're supposed to be. I just love this sort of dirty canvas fabric. It is vintage, guys. And this distressed metal bit. That speaks to me. So that is what I want to go with. Could even do them in a line. I don't like buttons in lines though, if I'm honest. Why is that so chunky? Because I feel like they work together. I'm just having a look. We've got a really dark... Oh my goodness me. I'm all fingers and thumbs today. Okay, that one works. Maybe the metal one on the more gothic one. Kind of love that. Let's have a look. Oh, I've got a black fabric one. It's silver on the inside. I don't like the silver quite as much. So I think I might want that. But I just want to double check. I do have more brown ones now. I've already decided I like that. Why am I even double checking? Okay, and for this one, let's have a look. Got this cute kind of white one. We've used that or one similar to that on one of the fabric embellishments, and we could come in with a much smaller one there. I'm just wondering if I want this little like one anywhere else. No, we're going to go with two. And I am going to use the vintage thread that my friend sent me. I'm only going to stitch one button on camera. And I'm going to show you, I use the loop method. Now, this is a really big needle for this, but okay. Now, if you are a stitcher, embroiderer, or cross stitcher, you probably know what I'm talking about. But just in case you don't, we're actually going to do this one. So I'm going to come up, well, first of all, I'm going to put a hole through so I can see. And then I'm going to come up from behind. I've doubled my thread over. So can you see the thread is doubled? And then I'm going to pull that, come through. And you need to have the loop on the back. I've just realised I did not show you that very well. And then that will hold your thread. You don't have to have knots and all sorts of other things hanging on the back because you've used the loop method. I will show you, you know what, I'm just going to stitch this one on as well. I will show you again that because I've realised that you really can't see. You really can't see how I doubled it over in the loop and all that kind of thing. So I think I do have a video on my channel showing that method because I believe it might have been a few years ago now, but I was stitching some buttons on and doing some fabric snippets. And I remember someone saying, is there a way you could show the loop method? So I think I did. But I will show you guys anyway in this video, so you don't have to go and try and search for that one. But it just makes it quick and easy. You don't have to tie knots. You don't have to fumble and do all that kind of thing. And yeah, you get a nice flat-ish back, because once obviously this is all done, I'm just seeing where the threads are. I'm just going to go through that. and then kind of loop it through as well. Go through again, loop it through. And that's all I need to do because I know that this is going to be glued down. So there's no need for me to do anything else with that one. So let me show you that again. I'm not going to stitch, guys, but I will show you how I do the loop. Now, where is my thread? There you are. There's my loose thread. And I'm going to do it on a piece of tea-dyed paper or card so that you can see it a bit better rather than on black. So I have my long piece of thread, and what I do is I find one end and I find the other end of that thread and I match those up. Then this is the bit you're going to put through your needle. Where did I just put my needle? Oh my gosh, is it on the table? Let me have a look. So you're going to put the two open ends, and at the other end you have a loop here. So you're going to put the two open ends, not the loop end, through the eye of your needle. Pull that through so you have a little bit, always leaving the loop bit at the end of your thread, and then that is how you can, again, I'm going to start this off. I won't do it all on camera. But it's how you put it through. So we've got the two loose ends here. The loop is to the back. Here is the loop. Do you see? Put through. And then there's the loop, and I'm going to put my needle through that loop, and then that has attached it. I'm going to sew all these on off camera. So all the buttons are sewn on, and now the next bit we're going to do is this bit. So I've already done it for two, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do. But you can see this is now glued to the craft card. It's been cut around and inked. So we have our cards. So that's what we're going to do to this. Why does this not look straight? I know why, because my paper trimmer doesn't always cut straight, but something about it just does not look straight. So I'm just gonna, it was literally just a smidge, but my eye was picking that up. So the next thing we're going to do, oh, and I wanted to show you, I've done some very small hand stitching on here too. So you could quite easily do some slow stitching on your piece. And I'm just going to make my tag top. You could make these as journal cards. Be aware, the chunkier the buttons, the more it's going to be a bit more difficult to write on, but you know, if it looks nice, that's what matters. And now I'm going to put my glue on the actual craft card base. Now you can put it right to the edge. I would advise that. If you're not sewing, I would really advise making sure that this has got glue all over it, and also that any of the edges that aren't glued together with the glue stick are then glued, because obviously I am going to be sewing mine. And then you need to line it up with one of the edges and then press down. And obviously if I try and turn that over, that is so chunky, that metal one. Then I'm going to come on and just cut all the excess away. Oh, one of the things I meant to say, I sometimes forget, but I sometimes forget really simple tips, because if it's something I've done regularly, I kind of forget. But one of the things I meant to say is, if you are hand sewing the buttons on or slow stitching, and you're doing that just on the sewing pattern paper before it goes onto the craft card, please be aware that sewing pattern paper is fragile. So if you pull too hard, if you put too many holes in where you're trying to sew your buttons, it's going to rip and tear, and you might not be able to sew your buttons on because it's going to be torn and the thread's just going to go through. So please be aware of that. So now that's all cut to size, and I am going to go and stitch all the way around. So that is all stitched around. What I also forgot to say, another little tip, is that if you are sewing buttons on and you are machine stitching, please be aware to not put your buttons too near the edge, because you're not going to, it's going to be difficult for you to machine stitch around them. So just be aware of those little tips. And if you're not machine stitching, it doesn't matter. And if you really wanted to, if you weren't bothered, you could actually stitch your buttons through the craft card as well. It would give you more stability if you did that. Now we've got 3 to decorate, which I am obviously going to do. Let's move some of these papers and bits, because I don't think I'm going to use any of those. Now on the Gothic one, what I want to do is, before I've used the people, normal people, but this is one of those slightly more creepy ladies that came in the Tim Holtz Halloween ones this year. I'm just going to cut her shoulder off. And I feel like I want to try her, which is why I had to move that. Because if I'd kept that at the bottom, trying to fit her on in a way that, I mean, that still does kind of work. Although we're covering up a lot of the paper, and I've already done the tag the other way. But we're going to do her down here, and I might put something across the bottom. So we're going to do that. We're just going to, if I get this back, you can see I'm just using little bits, little scraps and bits and bobs and all that good stuff. So let's have a look. I'm going to move these autumnal ones a minute, and we're going to work on this one, because once we've done her, we've got the others that we can just do. I was even wondering about putting now. I think I'd prefer a moth on her. So let's see if I've got a moth that's big enough, or whether I would need to get one of my really big ones. I might need to get one of my really big ones. Just going to layer up a little bit. I could put that there, possibly. I really do like a lot of the blank space, but that's just for now. I might put that there. So I might have that there. Let's look for a wider moth. Those wings might work. I have just ordered another set of these. I still have an unused set, but I know I'm going to be using them a lot quite soon. So I'm already using them a lot. I don't like that as much, you know. Maybe this would work. If I have them, do you know what? Let's cut them off. Let's actually cut them off body as well, that little bit. Because I think I'm going to angle them slightly differently. So I think I want them kind of like that. Could even have them, if we wanted to, differently. Nope, nope, no. No, 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 no. And also, where is my thread again? I know I kept it nearby. There it is. Sorry for stretching, guys. Sometimes it just can't be helped. I'm going to come on with some black thread, and that can go behind this lady too. So I think I'm going to do her. Do I want this on top and then the wings? Or do I want the wings and then, no, I want it on top. So where's her other wing? There it is. Okay, so let's glue kind of here a little bit. Come on. I'm going to put all the thread behind her. Just do that. Like so. Pull it out a little bit because I want to actually be able to see it. And then I'm going to put her wings on. I'm going to glue them both now. I mean, it takes a little bit of a while for the acetate, these transparencies, to stick. So do that. And then on here. Here's our creepy muff lady. Is she creepy? I don't know if she's creepy. Her eyes are. Her eyes really freak me out. Normally the Tim Holtz dolls, I'm a bit like, why do we even have the dolls? Because in all reality, most of them just look like normal people. But some of the ones in this year's Halloween really did look creepy, including this lady here. I'm just putting that behind there so we can see that 6 a bit more. Let me just get my cloth. And I think what I want to do, if I can find it, is this one working? Not really. I need my fine liners so that I can just go around the inside of this number so that it stands out a little bit more. Okay, like so. And that's definitely going to have a brad on it. Got one of my alcohol ink dyed ones there. Now I'm not going to put this through. If I'd thought about it, I could have put this through the sewing pattern paper before I then glued it down. I do not want it going all the way through to the craft card. So just going to do it like this, and I'm going to trim that bit off. So I was doing it over by my bin because I don't want my cats finding it. That's going to go there. And what else do I want? I feel like I might want one of those as well. Maybe there. She can have some music. Music. Maybe. We have this bit that says toxic. Now we've got this kind of dark red there. So I'm wondering about bringing this in. But I just want to distress this a little bit. And I want to then ink it a little bit. And obviously we haven't really done anything with her yet. We haven't glued her down is what I mean. So this could come on there. Got that little music piece unless I want it somewhere else. I don't know. I quite like it. There's a lot going on, but I quite like it. Might put something else up there. Did have, oh, I wonder about this. Because I do kind of love the frames. I know it seems a bit random putting a frame on there. Oh, do you know what? I haven't got it in black, but I dyed. Oh, sorry, I got even more excited. Let's bring on some nature. If you're new here, hello, welcome. But one of the things I love is adding nature to things. I've been doing that a little bit, but maybe not as much as I normally do. So, oh my gosh, I think the wings have stuck. Oh no! Come on. Great, that's now ripping. I need to re-glue those in place. That's okay. I want some nature coming up here. I think we're down. I don't want to cover the hand stitching is what I don't want to do. So we're going to do that. And then we'll get working on the other ones. Okay, that's good. Let's glue our lady down, our creepy moth lady. I mean, it's not her fault, is it? But those eyes, guys, honestly, those eyes really do creep me out a little bit. I'm going to move her wings slightly. We just got that flower just in the background. Just needed something. Now, where's that number gone? And I'm thinking of putting the number behind the flower, kind of there. Yeah, that'll work for me. So we've just got a little bit, and we've got lots of texture. She's at a slight angle, but that's okay. I feel like I want this, but do I want a bit of this or a bit of lace behind it? Because I do feel like it needs something. So let me grab a bit of this lace or a bit of the cheesecloth. I'm leaning towards the cheesecloth, but we'll try the lace anyway. So we could have a little bit of lace. No, that'll work on the other ones. Let's take a little bit of the cheesecloth. And then we'll do the others. Because I love to decorate. So that's what we're going to do. This a little bit. Kind of like so. We want it a bit crinkled, I think. And a bit more ripped. Now, I've still got my black in my machine. So I could stitch this on with my black. I think I'm going to. Okay, so there we go. I did end up adding a little bit of lace. I don't know if I want that there. I like it, but I think I'm going to leave it for the moment. And we're going to move her to one side. And we are going to work on these. Let's work on a smaller one first. I really do love the butterfly, actually. Do I want the butterfly on here? Or do I want the butterfly on the other one? Kind of liking that. Do kind of like that. But maybe not. Okay, so I like it. But do I want the butterfly on here? Right, we also have, let me find them. We have some leaves. I feel like that is too light. But I do have other ones. Like I have this great orange one. I also have one made out of my faux leather paper. I thought I had other ones. We have a mushroom. Where do I want the mushroom? That's what I've got to ask myself. I think I'm feeling the mushroom. Let's ink around that. I think I am feeling the mushroom. So I'm going to put the mushroom on, and that, where did I just put it? Oh, there it is. And we could bring that on, because I do love the frames at the moment. I'm preferring that to the other one. And now we're just going to layer up a little bit. Oh my gosh. Wondering about having one of these images behind here. Oh yeah, that looks good. It might look good if it was in a slightly different what's it called, ink, but it's not, and we're going to work with what I've already got because that is what I have. So no, this can go there. Thinking actually this might work with the butterfly on the other one, so I'm going to move that over. we have a number again. I could bring in a number. I'm really liking numbers. And we are using numbers quite a bit. I think I want the ticket there. I think that works. And then maybe some other bits. Something needs to go here. I do also have this number that could come on there. Behind here. I think that works quite well. Don't move everything. Have a label. Oh, where's my fabric labels? That would work behind there. Let's bring that down so we can see the number there as well as on there. I wonder what it would look like over the mushroom. I like it over the mushroom as well. It's a shame I can't hear you guys. I think I want it over the mushroom. I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, I've also got some other little bits. Nope. Maybe here. That would work there. Yeah, that would work there. Wonder if I want to bring on a little bit of corrugated, because I love working with corrugated. Is that too much? I don't know. I kind of like it. I might bring in some thread. And I'm thinking this is looking quite good now. So what I now need to do, let's make life difficult for myself. And I'm going to glue this onto here first. It's the first thing I'm going to do. And then I'm going to ink around this. And I'm going to glue this just ever so finely on the edge of here so that we can see that. That is, I think, going to pop underneath like so. So I'm going to glue that down now. It's going to go under the fabric and over to the side. Yep. Now we're going to ink the edge of this ticket and then glue this down. Like so. Yeah, that's looking good. That's looking good. That's looking good. Now put the mushroom up over the top of that. Oh, where do I want the thread? That's right. I will think of that. I'm liking this. I'm liking it. It's coming together. It's got another little 8. This definitely needs... I wonder if I do have this in the fabric. Let me just have a look. So I did have it in the fabric. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I printed all these labels out. They are the Tracy Fox random labels. I printed them all out on some fabric paper. So I have them in paper, on paper, and on fabric paper. And I like the fabric paper because it gives that extra texture on there. Let's add maybe just a little touch of thread on here, just a little touch underneath, like there's not lots of thread on here anyway, but we're going to add a little bit more. And yeah, I'm not taking the backing off the fabric because as soon as you do it becomes very flexible, and I want it to still have a little bit of stability, but have the texture of fabric. And then yeah, we're going to come on in with a little bit of corrugated card, which you could use gesso on. I'm going to use a little bit of ink, but I probably will put something else on it. These won't be completely finished guys, Told you a lot of stuff's going to end up with splatters on it because that's just my jam. And then we have this little bit which I want to put across here or up here. Where do I want to put it? There. Kind of like it there. I was just wondering about another piece. If we could cut a piece. Do I want to cut a piece of that and have that, or just have this? Do you know what? We'll just have this because there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. And then we're going to do the final one. And then we're going to think about tabs. That's what we're going to do. Now, I wanted this butterfly. And I think I do want like film strip or something with this beautiful butterfly. I could use the moth as I have been doing, but I wanted to use a butterfly today. So that's what I'm going to do. I feel like I want the field label here maybe, or down here. Possibly. And then I have some flowers, but they're the same colour as the thing, so I don't think that's going to work. Could we bring a leaf in? Let me have a look. Leaf behind the butterfly. Nope, I don't want any of that. Okay, well, at least we know what we want and what we don't want. I think the field label's going to go up here, actually. That works better for me. I think I'm going to put some music on the butterfly, or maybe not. I feel like I want to use this. I'm like, where can I use it? Okay, so we have this. We're going to put some thread behind the butterfly. We've got that there. We've got these. We might not need too much more. Just having a look. Got this beautiful feather, but I don't think that's going to work either. Oh, maybe some of this eco-dyed stuff. Let's have a look how I feel about that. I mean, we're just adding pieces and seeing what works. I don't like that either. Although now I've taken it away, I feel like I do like it. Maybe this bit will work. This is some handmade paper. I'm looking for texture. That's what I'm looking for behind here. Like so. With the butterfly. Stop moving. Stop moving. It's going to be some thread. Why do you keep moving? What's making you move? It's moving on its own accord here, guys. It's got nothing to do with me. Maybe that bit up there. Yep, I like that. That came together quite well. Wondering about a number. Maybe a smaller number somewhere. Right, I'm going to start sticking all these down, because then it's stuck. Because then we just have one other thing that I am going to do. You can't really see that well, but that is okay. I think I wanted that on there. Oh. Fingers and thumbs. So you can do anything with these kind of tags, guys. Whatever your style is, it's going to work. If you want a brighter style, go for the white like I showed you with my spring one in the bright colours. You want gothic, go for darker. You can ink sewn pattern paper up. You can distress it, put alcohol, not alcohol, acrylic paints or whatever you want on there. You can do that. I think I want the 53, so we see that. And just do whatever style that you want. Yeah, that's going to go there. On these. I absolutely love working with sewn pattern paper. I love the feel of it. I love the sound that it makes. I I love how versatile it is. I love all the amazing detail on it. That's not straight. Oh well. So yeah, this is just something I really enjoy working with. But I have not worked with, especially in a tag form like this, in a while. Hence it being a forgotten snack. Now my glue does dry clear, so I'm not worried that I can see that through there right now. I'm just wondering if I do want that on there, or whether I want it down here. Do you know what? I am going to put it down there. I knew it needed to go somewhere. I just didn't need to know. I didn't know where. I haven't put a word on here yet. I would normally. Do I want a little bit of corrugated somewhere? Or do I want one of those little Tim Holtz label things? And then we're going to do one final thing. I think I'm going to do it on one and then do the others off camera. So that you can see what they look like, but you don't have to watch me doing it all. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Okay, let's ink these up and get these stuck down. So this one's going to go here. And then this one's going to go up here. So the other thing that I wanted to show you, I have done it on the other ones as well, is I'm going to add some rub-ons. Now you can add stamps, that's fine. But I have all these half-used rub-ons in here because I love the Tim Holtz rub-ons. So I have a load of them in here that are just in little bits and pieces. And I love coming on with things like this and using them on the sewing pattern paper. You could use stamps, you could write on it if you wanted. You don't have to add this at all. I just think because of the sewing pattern paper, I think it almost looks like it is part of the sewing pattern paper, if that makes sense. It really blends in well with it. And as these are all little bits and pieces, I just think it's going to work well and help me use these up on here. Obviously use a tool usually, guys. I do have my tool, so why don't I use that? That would make life much easier. This still needs to dry, but it will do. Right, come on. Love that. Love adding numbers. And you can really look at where the lines are and things on the sewing pattern paper and make it work for you. Like there's a line right there. So let's put a number across it. You know? Like so. Let's see if there's another one I want to use. Got just numbers. Also, I have some of his word ones. See, this says dream. I do kind of like that as well. I'm trying to think where to put it because in all reality, I think I'm going to put it down there. I'm probably going to put a tab up there of some sort or an eyelet. I don't know. So that can go on there. One of the things I like doing, the Tim Holtz rub-on words that are in white, I really like to add them to things like onto wings and that. Do you see those? Because they stand out. Let me do it to the other ones and then I'll show you how everything looks. So you saw me do this one, but then I added rub-ons to this. So I've got a rub-on there, there's one down here, and then these, don't they just fit in with the lines? I think they really do. And then I've got on here, I've put a rub-on there, there's one there, there's one there. I think that's all of them. And you can see I've also gone on and added toppers. I wasn't going to, and then I decided I was. So there we go, guys. So once again, the inspiration was forgotten snacks, I believe. Yeah, forgotten snacks. And I decided to do that with a piece that I've made before that I really enjoyed making but haven't done in a little while. And then these are what I came up with. Now, I might still go on, add some splatters, add some stamping, texture stamps, because if you look at this one, there's actual texture stamp up the top there. But for now, I'm going to leave these finished. I also wanted to show you I did stitch the butterfly. I just wanted it to be even more secure and I like the look of it. But there are 3 tags made out of sewing pattern paper, grandma's buttons that we've already used, and other little bits and bobs. So I know this was a long one, guys, but I hope you enjoyed it and my interpretation of what forgotten snacks was for me. Please do like, subscribe, comment and share if you have not already. And I'll be back again soon with another video. But until then, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having lots and lots of crafty fun. Bye for now.